كان الشيخ زايد يؤمن إيمان عميق بأن الإنسانية أسرة واحدة. كان يؤمن بأن مصيرها هو في الحوار والتعاون والعمل معا.
نحن بشر كلنا أخوان، كلنا أخوان، اللي بيصير على هذا الطريق ولا بيصير على هذاك ولا بيصير على هذا، المصيب هو أخوه والغلطان أخوه.
Sheikh Zayed was extremely attuned to people's need for time. He was extremely patient in giving them the space so that they could converge into solutions that would work for everyone and allow people to reach a consensus, making him an extremely socially aware as well as emotionally intelligent facilitator of conversations and cooperations.
وأنا لا أنسى السنوات الأولى من الاتحاد عندما كنت رافق الدبلوماسيين والصحفيين لملاقاة الشيخ زايد، وكان الكل يشك بإمكانية قيام هذا الاتحاد. كانت هنالك العديد من الاختلافات ما بين وجهات النظر. الشيخ زايد رحمه الله استطاع دائما أن يحل هذه الخلافات عن طريق الحوار مع الآخرين، عن طريق الصراحة في عرض الأمور.
Sheikh Zayed had significant influences throughout his life that shaped him into the negotiator he eventually became. From a very early age, his father and his uncle would bring him repeatedly to the Majlis, which became, I think, a school of negotiation for him. There he learned how to listen and how to be patient and how to interact with those he might disagree with.
الشيخ زايد رحمه الله كان دائما يؤمن بالشورى كطريق إلى حل المشاكل وإلى إيجاد الحلول. كان يستمع إلى الجميع ويحترم آراء الجميع، لم يحاول أبداً فرض رأي من دون استشارة كل من حوله.
One of the things that I found very interesting in Sheikh Zayed's early history was how important his Islamic education was for him, guided by the hand of his mother. Throughout his life afterwards, all his negotiations, cooperation, he portrayed and he carried those principles deeply in the way he conducted these conversations. Principles such as justice, mercy, peace, unity.
أما كوني أني أستطيع أني أخفف أو أساعد المواطن فيما يهمه، هذا واجبي، فأنا مسؤول أمام الله.
إرث زايد الإنساني رحمه الله هو إرث حي يعيش بيننا اليوم. أن الشيخ زايد هو مدرسة، هو أسلوب عمل، منهجية تعامل، هو فكر، هو عقيدة، هو إيمان.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سمو الشيخ نهيان بن زايد آل نهيان، رئيس مؤسسة زايد الخير، سمو الشيوخ، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، الضيوف الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسعدني اليوم أن أرحب بكم وأن أبارك لكم ما تبقى من الشهر الفضيل. ستكون هذه الجلسة باللغة الإنجليزية، فاسمحوا لي الآن أن أكمل الحديث بهذه اللغة. Your Highnesses, Excellencies, esteemed guests, it is truly an honor and a privilege to moderate today's session titled The Founding Fathers' Lessons on Cooperation. My name is Najla Mitfa, and I'm a researcher at Trans Research and Advisory, specializing in strategic studies, and a master's student at the Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy. Today's session will explore the enduring lessons of cooperation inspired by the legacy of the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, may his soul rest in peace, highlighting how his vision, trust-building, and inclusive approach to negotiation laid the foundations of unity and what these principles mean for leaders today. Now, I would like to introduce our distinguished speakers for today's session. His Excellency Zaki Nusayba, the Cultural Advisor to the President of the UAE, the Chancellor of UAE University, who will be sharing with us untold stories about our founding father, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, and Dr. Anya Mraz, Adjunct Professor at INSEAD Abuظbي and at Sorbonne University Abuظbي, Academic Director for Negotiation and Founder and Chairman of Freedom Space Negotiation, who will share with us her key insights on this important topic. Before we begin the presentation, we would like to engage our audience with a poll. On the table in front of you, you will find polling devices to answer the question: when leading a negotiation aimed at creating joint value, which mindset do you believe matters most? The answers are: building trust through open dialogue and information sharing, clarifying interest and ensuring a fair negotiation process, staying flexible and adapting as the situation evolves, focusing on winning at the other party's expense. Please take a moment to submit your response. Dr. Anya, we now look forward to your insights. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Your Highness, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, it's my great honor to start our dialogue today about the Founding Fathers' lesson on cooperation. This talk is based on a joint case study written by Horacio Falcao, my partner and mentor, as well as myself. It shows Sheikh Zayed's unwavering commitment to collaboration, cooperation, and, in negotiation language, win-win moves, always in the pursuit of unity and mutual benefit. We believe that it's important to understand his approach in this time of increasing conflict and polarization. How are we going to spend the next 20 minutes? There are 3 parts. First, we are going to understand the key concepts through Sheikh Zayed's coordination praxis. Second, we are going to elaborate on the relationship building as a foundation of cooperation. Thirdly, we will exemplify on 4 examples his approach to cooperation. My hope is that Sheikh Zayed's lessons will resonate with you, that it will make you an even better negotiator, that you are increasingly following his footsteps. When we talk about Sheikh Zayed's unwavering commitment to collaboration and cooperation, what do we mean conceptually with cooperation? Cooperation exists as many win-win moves as you can do. It's the upper right on the slide, and not to do intentional win-lose moves, upper left box. Why do I say moves, plural? Sheikh Zayed knew that cooperation consists of many small micro steps, and he constantly, we heard it in the video, initiated interactions. As a little side remark, as human beings, we make mistakes. Sometimes we will do an unintentional win move lose, but that doesn't matter. As long as I'm doing more win moves, we are fine. Let's have a closer look what cooperation is. Cooperation is not, and you see that on the lower left box, entering a conversation with a fixed position, just asking who's the stronger one, using force, having an outcome of winning and losing. What is the risk of such an approach? We create resistance. Nobody wants to lose. We are creating suffering, embodied pain, and the risk of retaliation. And, of course, unsustainable deals, creating a power fear circle, which is difficult to escape afterwards. What is cooperation? That's the lower right box. It is asking about everyone's needs, concerns, interests, and creating afterwards options with mutual benefit. We just saw it in the video. It was emphasized how Sheikh Zayed always was trying to find everybody else's needs and never imposing his own options. What is the risk? The risk might be that I appear, if I'm very positive and coming with a win-win move, that I appear weak. What's the solution? The solution is to be positive, but not naive, leading the negotiation in a way that I am not falling for win-lose moves, but inviting the other party to move into win-win. And even if the other side is not following win-win, my expectation would be as a leader to make it a better deal for the other side and myself. Sheikh Zayed was very curious, caring, always about the needs of his people, engaging, communicating. Thus, of course, he was on the right-hand side. What local institution embodies those features of communication and understanding? We heard it already in the movie. It is the Mejlis. I would like to take a moment to celebrate the Mejlis and to add a point of view out of the negotiations point of view, as it is an open forum where all voices are heard, all perspectives are taken into account. There's a great hospitality. All the parties feel welcome. All the conflicting parties can expect that disputes will be settled fairly. It is a forum where we build consensus through consultation, shura. Consensus meaning an outcome which balances fairness, inclusion, and sustainability through communication. Let's stop a moment and look at the right-hand side. On the picture, you see sitting under the tree in a lane. You probably all know the picture. And what I would like to highlight, you are seeing that everybody is sitting next to each other, not opposite. This is a very important concept if we want to cooperate. Sitting next to each other, facing the problems and the opportunities together, seeing it together as joint problem solvers, as a duty to find solutions. Not sitting opposite of each other with a big table between us, where we find each other as conflicting parties with a zero-sum mind, with facing each other as enemies, as obstacles, where we interact with using power and force. Sheikh Zayed, as we heard also in the video, embodied the Mejlis tradition. So the lesson learned, of course, and you're all doing it, is trying to sit next to each other in any meeting. And even if it's not possible from the room, just do it conceptually. The next concept that I would like to offer is a map. It's a map which can be used to diagnose where you are in a negotiation. It has been developed by Horacio Falcao, and I will illustrate it through Sheikh Zayed's cooperation practice. The map consists of 7 elements. It's the gray boxes, and of 3 phases. Phase 1, build the bridge. Phase 2, value creation. And phase 3, the best possible decision. The phase 1, building the bridge, which consists of relationship and communication, is very, very important in this region. We will come back later to this very important point. Let's jump to the second phase, the value creation. It consists of 3 boxes, as you can see, the one in the circle. Sheikh Zayed was always very, very firm on his interests and concerns, like interest, prosperity for everyone, unity, peace, mutual benefit. Concerns, the security for his country, for his people. But, and that we heard also in the video already, he was very, very flexible and open for the solution, the options, letting options arise organically after long consultations. So I just would like to stop here for a moment and highlight the importance of being firm on your interests, but allow a quarrel for finding the good options over time. And we'll see an example later. Thirdly, Sheikh Zayed assessed the options through criteria, through standards rooted in his values and principles to choose the best option. Then we come to the third phase, best possible decision. As you can see, it consists of two possibilities. If we agree, if the option is better than my alternative, then we commit. And if my alternative is better, then I don't commit and I go towards the alternative. The concept of the alternative, called Patna, best alternative to a negotiated agreement, is a concept from Harvard, offering the possibility to judge if I am committing or not. But careful, if you would use Patna very, very early on in a negotiation, it might be perceived as a win-lose move. Coming to a negotiation and saying, hello, how are you? My alternative is with those 1, 2, 3 outcomes. It will feel uncomfortable. Secondly, I would like to highlight that you should be careful not to do early commitments. Commitments come late, but you don't push anyone in early commitments. Sheikh Zayed, of course, didn't do that. He was always taking long time before he was deciding together with everybody else. So 3 lessons learned from Sheikh Zayed. Don't push for early commitments. Don't use alternatives early in the process. And be firm on your interest and flexible on the options. Let's look a little bit closer into relationship building as the foundation of negotiation. Of course, one big important part of it is building trust. Sheikh Zayed was very able, and we heard it already also in the video, to build trust. He was caring, he had simplicity, laughter, he was making it easy for everyone to approach him. I would like to highlight his way of building relationships with the approach which is called unconditional constructive behavior, developed from Harvard professors Fisher and Brown. When we talk about unconditional constructive behavior, we are thinking about a behavior which is unconditional, independent of the situation. It is constructive, with an outcome better for the other side and myself, and it consists of 6 behaviors. 3 of them we have already touched on a lot. Communication, understanding, not using force. The other 3 I would like to highlight, which is being reliable. Sheikh Zayed was always very, very reliable with his commitments. Having constructive acceptance. Understanding that even difficult parties must feel validated and that inclusion is better than exclusion. He was always very inclusive in the Mejlis. And being able to hold differences. And understanding. Understanding doesn't mean accepting, agreeing. The 6th one is rationality. Sheikh Zayed was very, very calm, even in difficult situations, in difficult cooperation negotiations. How can you be calm and composed in those situations? It is in the moment where you are confident, yet humble. What do I mean with that? Sheikh Zayed, he was confident, he had experience, he was well prepared, he was rooted, he had strength of character. Yet, going into a negotiation, a cooperation, he was very humble. He knew that he didn't know everything. He knew he didn't have all the information, or that he might have wrong assumptions, and that he is human and might make a mistake. And thus, being so humble, you are curious. You want to understand the other side and find out what the best way forward would be. A third point I would like to highlight, which goes towards communication and process, you can see it on the slide, is that Sheikh Zayed always actively initiated process to catch problems before they arise, to build and maintain momentum, to do always the first step, and of course also to create good relationships. For example, he knew that change takes time, but at the same time that we need to initiate change all the time. For instance, he was initiating the dialogues with the other rulers. He was initiating projects for the residents to be served. He was initiating the UAE University, always for pushing for a bigger layout. Let's go to the next part of our conversation, which is about 4 examples throughout his service. You find in the green ovals the different times. The first one I would like to highlight is when he was when he started to take service in 1946 in Al Ain. Al Ain at that point was not a very green oasis flourishing. The Falaj system were broken. The large landowners had many water rights. The smaller farmers didn't have enough water access. Sheikh Zayed's interest was to optimize the water use, to equal the water access, and to increase the well-being of the population. How did he do it? As a negotiation professional, I would like to highlight 2 things. First of all, he was leading by example. He gave up his own water rights before asking others to do that concession. Second, he was solving the issue by a package approach, a multi-issue approach with many issues at once. What do I mean with that? Not only he repaired the old Falaj system, he also constructed a new one where more water was available, and thirdly, did a strategic exchange with those landowners which had not yet given up their water rights, telling them that they only would have access to the new Falaj system if they would give up their rights. I would like to highlight that in this way it was possible to create a holistic solution with patience and time, with lots of connectivity between the different issues, which had a very sustainable outcome until today. Al Ain is one of the greenest oases we know. The next example I would like to give is about Sheikh Zayed being already the ruler in Abu Dhabi. He had more power, but he was very aware not to act out of power, not to be overconfident, to believe that using power might give you the best outcome, and to focus on short-term gains instead of long-term partnerships. Because power is relative, it can be misleading. So he did not use his power to nationalize the oil companies. Instead, formed a long-term partnership, which is very beneficial until today. Because he knew that he had the resource, but he was missing at that time the infrastructure, the technology, and the knowledge to extract the oil. The next example I would like to mention is about the UAE unification. Of course, there have been many, many negotiations for that time. I want to highlight one. With the withdrawal of the announcement of the withdrawal of the British in January 1968, there were waves of uncertainty going through the region. Sheikh Zayed pivoted his long-term dream of unity at that moment. How did he do it? At the Al Samha meeting, he met with, as you know, with Sheikh Rashid bin Zayed Al Maktoum with a clear, unambiguous message of benign intent, which made it possible for the 2 emirates to form a union. And shortly after, inviting everybody else, treating them all equal. That was a foundation for security and stability for everybody else to join. They said that we have very low exit barriers. And paradoxically, if we put low exit barriers, the commitment is higher. The last example I would like to mention is about the provisional constitution. Out of a negotiation point of view, it is remarkable how Sheikh Zayed and the other leaders were able to design flexible, temporary, gradual structures to move all the parties along. there was now immediate alignment of all the points necessary, and we could respect autonomy while fostering unity. 4 lessons learned of a negotiation point of view. Sheikh Zayed did incremental scope, so he only addressed a few problems at a time and readjusted. There was no one-shot pressure, like avoiding all or nothing deadlines. He made reversible commitments normal. To normalize change, if something changed the environment, we can reverse our commitments. And of course, he built trust through performance, building hospitals, infrastructure, education, schools, and so on. And thus, with this reliable execution, could enlarge the range of possible agreements. Sheikh Zayed's cooperative approach has been fundamental to the successful development of the UAE, resulting in global connectivity. With looking at the economy on the left columns on the slide, long-term economic growth, with looking at tourism in the middle column at free visa access to 186 countries, and with looking at trade on the right column, many SEPA agreements which position UAE as a global trade hub. To conclude, Sheikh Zayed was a statesman in service, going beyond his subjective perspective, being generous, being caring, fostering unity and cooperation. Al-Bayt mit Wahat, shukran jazilan.
Thank you, Dr. Anya, for that insightful presentation. The next discussion with His Excellency Zaki Nusayba will be conducted in Arabic. Dr. Anya, excuse us as we continue in the same language. والآن يشرفنا أن ندعو معالي زكي نسيبة للمنصة ليشاركنا ذكرياته عن الشيخ زايد طيب الله ثراه.
شكرا. Hello, thank you very much.
نرحب بمعاليك في الجلسة الأولى لمجلس محمد بن زايد لهذا العام، ونحن على ثقة بأنها ستكون جلسة متميزة بمشاركتكم القيمة وبما تمتلكون من مسيرة حافلة بالعطاء في خدمة الوطن. ورافقت المغفور له الشيخ زايد طيب الله ثراه في العديد من الزيارات واللقاءات داخل الدولة وخارجها، وكنت شاهداً على رؤية الشيخ زايد الثاقبة ونهجه الإنساني والجهود التي بذلها من أجل قيام الاتحاد وبناء الوطن. نبدأ جلستنا معاليك في الحديث عن بداية مسيرتك مع الوالد المؤسس الشيخ زايد طيب الله ثراه، وكيف كانت أول زيارة خارجية له في مجال التعاون الدولي.
شكرا جزيلا. عندما قامت دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة العام 71 قامت في ظروف تواجه فيها مخاطر مصيرية وجودية، وكانت المنطقة موبوءة بالصراعات وبالخلافات، وكانت الأنظار تتجه نحو الإمارات كإمارات صغيرة كانت مبعثرة ثم أصبحت دولة ناشئة، وبالتالي كانت النظرة آنذاك تقول بأن هذه الدولة صعب عليها أن تقاوم هذه المخاطر الوجودية من حولها. حظينا وحظيت المنطقة في تلك الفترة بكون هنالك زعيم تاريخي ذو رؤية ملهمة وملهمة اللي قام من أجل التصدي لهذه المخاطر. وأحد قواعد استراتيجية الشيخ زايد للتصدي لهذه المخاطر كانت في إقامة شبكة من العلاقات العربية والإسلامية والإقليمية والعالمية من أجل تعزيز وجود الدولة وكسب التأييد لها والاعتراف بها، ومعرفة بأن هذه الدولة ستقوم بالحفاظ على الأمن والاستقرار لهذه المنطقة. وأريد أن أشير ليست لزيارة كانت مهمة في هذا الاتجاه. علاقة الإمارات بشبه القارة الهندية هي علاقات تاريخية، والشيخ زايد رحمه الله حرص منذ البداية أن يقوي من هذه العلاقات، فقام بزيارات بعد أن قام بزياراته في الدول العربية والإقليمية، قام بزيارة أذكر إلى باكستان عام 1972، وكان الرئيس آنذاك فيها الرئيس الراحل ذو الفقار علي بوتو. كانت باكستان قد خاضت حربا مع الهند، وثم تم التوافق على اتفاقية شملة 1972. الشيخ زايد كان حريص أن يقيم علاقات متوازنة مع القارة الهندية بأكملها، يعني مع الباكستان بداية، ولكن أيضا مع الهند ومع بنغلاديش، وقام بزيارات لهذه الدول. في الباكستان، وأريد أن أركز في هذه الإشارة لأنه لكل دولة لها قصتها، في الباكستان عندما قام بزيارة عام 72 نمت هناك علاقات قوية شخصية مع الرئيس الراحل ذو الفقار علي بوتو، واستمرت هذه العلاقات لسنوات طويلة. ولكن بالنسبة للشيخ زايد، الباكستان كانت دولة مهمة للإمارات، ومهمة لمساعدة الإمارات على استتباب الأمن والاستقرار هنا. واستمرت زيارات الشيخ زايد في الباكستان، طبعا زار أيضا الهند عام 75، قام بملاقاة بنغلاديش مجيب الرحمن، ولكن في الباكستان كانت له اهتمام يعني خاص، وشارك في مؤتمر القمة الإسلامية عام 74 في لاهور مع ذو الفقار علي بوتو. في العام 77 كما نعلم كانت هنالك انتخابات، ألقي القبض على الرئيس الراحل علي ذو الفقار بوتو، فالشيخ زايد حرصا منه على حياة الرئيس الراحل وعلى علاقته الشخصية به، حاول أن يطلب العفو من الرئيس الباكستاني، الرئيس العسكري اللي كان رئيس ضياء الحق، ولكن هذا الطلب لم يستجب له. حتى في آخر يوم من أيام المحاكمة أرسل الشيخ زايد رحمه الله الشيخ حمدان بن محمد، كان آنذاك نائب رئيس الوزراء، أرسلوا إلى الرئيس أيضا ضياء الحق لطلب الرحمة لعلي بوتو. أنا كنت معه للترجمة، لكن الرئيس ضياء الحق قال أن لا نستطيع أن نتدخل في حكم القضاء. المهم اللي أريد أن أشير بهذه القصة، ويعني أصل إلى نتيجة منها. بعد ذلك بقليل الشيخ زايد قام بزيارة إلى الباكستان خاصة، فوصل إلى مطار كراتشي، ووجدنا أن الرئيس ضياء الحق وجميع أقطاب الحكومة الباكستانية كانت متواجدة في المطار، بالرغم من أن الزيارة ليست رسمية، وكذلك الوزراء المحليين، يعني الكل كان متواجد. فأول ما وصل الشيخ زايد ومع طبعا وفده، رئيس ضياء الحق خاطب الشيخ زايد علانية أمام الجميع وقال له: شيخ زايد، نحن نعلم أنك أنت كانت لك محبة خاصة بالرئيس ذو الفقار علي بوتو، ونقدر لك ذلك، ونريد أن نؤكد لك بأنك ستجد نفس الصداقة ونفس المحبة ونفس التقدير تجاهك مننا جميعا. فالشيخ زايد رحمه الله أجابه وأمام الجميع، يعني هذا في مجلس عام، قال له: صحيح أنا كنت لدي علاقات وثيقة مع علي بوتو، وعملنا سويا خاصة في مجال القمة الإسلامية، العمل على تقريب وجهات النظر ما بين الدول، ما بين الباكستان، الهند، بنغلاديش. لكن أنا علاقتي بالباكستان ليست هي علاقة شخصية. أنا أحببت ذو الفقار علي بوتو لأنه هو أحب شعب الباكستان، وكان يقوم على خدمة شعب الباكستان، وأنا بالنسبة لي محبتي وتقديري وقربي هو للشعب الباكستاني بأكمله. فسوف تجدونني دائما أنا صديق لكل من يعمل على خير الشعب الباكستاني وعلى تقدم الشعب الباكستاني ورفاهية الشعب الباكستاني. وعجت القاعة كلها بالتصفيق للشيخ زايد، يعني كان هناك تأثر المجاميع من كلامه. وهذا أريد منه أن أصل إلى ما كان يعتقد به الشيخ زايد راسخا رحمه الله، أن العلاقات بين الدول وعلاقات الدول ومصير شعوبها لا تتوقف على العلاقات الشخصية برغم أهمية العلاقات الشخصية، لكنها تقوم على المصالح الحيوية المشتركة وعلى الاشتراك في نفس القيم الخلقية الإنسانية التي تدفعنا إلى التعاون مع بعضنا البعض. وبالفعل بعد ذلك كان للشيخ زايد رحمه الله علاقات وثيقة مع كل من تعاقب على باكستان من رؤساء، واستمرت علاقة الأسرة الحاكمة هنا مع أسرة ذو الفقار علي بوتو إلى يومنا هذا. وكان هذا أحد الإشارات إلى عبقرية الشيخ زايد فعلا في إقامة علاقات متساوية وقوية ومتينة مع جميع شعوب ودول العالم.
شكرا معاليك. ننتقل إلى أحد أهم الملفات، وهو ملف مكافحة الإرهاب والتطرف. كيف كان الشيخ زايد طيب الله ثراه يتعامل مع هذا التحدي؟
الشيخ زايد رحمه الله كما نعلم كان عميق التدين. تكلم أذكر مع الكاتب البريطاني كلود موريس كيف أن نشأته منذ صغره كانت نشأة على قراءة ومتابعة على سبيل المثال السيرة النبوية الشريفة، وكيف كان حريص على الاستنارة بهذه السيرة العطرة. وكان يؤمن إيمان عميق بأن الإسلام هو دين المحبة ودين التسامح ودين الانفتاح على الآخرين. وكان يقول للجميع، ودائما أترجم له مع الزعماء والصحفيين ورجال الإعلام ومن يقوم بزيارته، بأن الأديان كلها هي في خدمة الإنسان، وأن على الأديان أن تتعاون ما بينها من أجل أن تصل إلى بناء هذه الأرض. كان يقول أن الخالق تعالى شأنه قد خلق الإنسان خليفة من أجل أن يعمر الأرض، وبالتالي كان ينبذ العنف والقتل ولا يعتقد على الإطلاق بأنه من شيم الإسلام. وبالعكس عندما قامت أعمال إرهابية باسم الإسلام كان شديد الغضب تجاهها، وكان حريص أن يتعاون مع الجميع من أجل إعلاء كلمة الإسلام الحقة، وهي كلمة التسامح والتفاهم والتعاون والتآزر. وأذكر على سبيل المثال عندما قامت المجموعة الإرهابية بتفجيرات نيويورك ب12 من أيلول عام 2001، كنا مع الشيخ زايد رحمه الله. كانت هنالك مكالمة هاتفية مباشرة مع الرئيس بوش آنذاك، وكان الشيخ زايد يعني تكلم معه وبصراحة بأننا لا نقبل بمثل هذه الأعمال أن تقام باسم الإسلام، بأن هذه الأعمال الشريرة هي أعمال إرهابية ضد الإسلام ومبادئ شريعته السمحة، وإننا علينا أن نعمل من أجل التعاون جميعا، دول إسلامية ودول غير إسلامية مع دول بالعالم، من أجل مقارعة هذا الإرهاب وعدم السماح له بالتسلسل بين الشعوب. ولكن وبنفس الوقت نريد أن نحرص على أن نعمل كلنا جميعا على إرساء الحق والعدالة في المناطق اللي يتعشش فيها هذا الإرهاب. على سبيل المثال في الشرق الأوسط علينا أن نعمل على حل القضايا العالقة، عن أن نعود أن نقوم جميعا بالتعاون من أجل تنفيذ قرارات مجلس الأمن لإحلال الأمن والسلام في الشرق الأوسط. علينا أن نعمل جميعا من أجل مساعدة الشعوب الكادحة في الدول النامية، لأن الفقر والحاجة تؤدي إلى تطرف. فكان صريح العبارة مع الرئيس بوش في هذا الشأن. وأذكر أيضا أن رئيس الوزراء البريطاني آنذاك توني بلير أتى لزيارته، وكنا في جنيف في ذلك الوقت للحديث حول نفس الموضوع، فأجاب الشيخ زايد نفس الإجابة، إنه علينا أن نقارع هذا الإرهاب لأنه لا علاقة له بالإسلام، بالعكس هو إرهاب على الإسلام وعلى شريعة الإسلام، ولكن بنفس الوقت علينا أن أيضا نعمل على حل المشاكل العالقة التي تعيشها المنطقة، لأنه بدون إيجاد الحلول العادلة المستدامة في هذه المنطقة سوف يكون هنالك دائما تراب يسهل قيام التطرف ما بين الشباب. وأريد أن أنا أذكر هذه القصة لأذكر شيء يعني إشارة إلى أيضا من سمات القيادة للشيخ زايد رحمه الله، أنه كان دائما صادق الكلمة والعبارة، يعني يتكلم دائما بما يجول في خاطره وفي فؤاده. أحد المسؤولين الأمريكيين أتانا في مرة وذكر لنا مع أحد المسؤولين يعني، وهذا في محضر مسجل، بأن كثير من الزعماء يتكلمون داخل الغرف المغلقة بشيء، ثم عندما تنتهي المقابلة ويخرج هذا الزعيم على رأي العام لديه يصدر عنه بيان يقول نحن طالبنا وقلنا وكملنا وليس صحيح. فلم تكن مثل هؤلاء الزعماء صدقية عند رؤساء الدول. الشيخ زايد رحمه الله كان دائما يحظى بثقة الآخرين من الزعماء ورؤساء الدول، لأن كانت له هذه الصدقية، وكان هنالك ثقة بكلامه، وكانت هنالك بالتالي الإمكانية الاستماع إليه، وبرغم ما يقوله مهما كان صريح العبارة وشديدها أحيانا، وكان أحيانا شديد العبارة، كان دائما يحظى رحمه الله بالثقة، بالمصداقية، بالاحترام وبالمحبة.
نشكرك معاليك على هالمشاركة القيمة اللي أغنت الجلسة بدروس ومواقف تاريخية عن الشيخ زايد طيب الله ثراه. Before we conclude, Dr. Anya, may I invite you to reveal the results of our poll earlier?
Okay, so as we can see, most of you have chosen the first option, which is building trust through open dialogue and information sharing with over 40%, 48%. Yet, yes, that's what we learned before, right? Also that open dialogue is very, very important for relationship and trust building. I would like to add for information sharing, we have to be careful, especially if we are with a counterparty which has a win-lose mindset. If we are walking into a negotiation and we are sharing all the information right away, we are spilling the beans, then we might not build trust, but appear as a weak, naive negotiator. Thus, we need to make sure that we share information reciprocal. Also, I offer another way to look at it another way around, to say, okay, let's build trust first through other means, like being reliable, constructive acceptance, being rational. And once we have built trust, then it will become easier to share information as a basis for finding good options. The third one, staying flexible and adapting as the situation evolves. Yes, we have learned that also with the negotiation process of the provisional constitution, that staying flexible is very important. It's important for the options, right? I'm staying flexible. I'm not coming in with a positional mindset saying that that's the way it needs to be done. Staying flexible and adopting as situation evolves. We should not be flexible on our concerns. Yeah, we heard that also. Be firm on interest and flexible on options. Then I would like to talk about the 19%, clarifying interest and ensuring a fair negotiation process. Yes, of course, the negotiation process is best if it's fair. It's one of the three pillars: good process, good relationship, good substance. And looking at clarifying interest, yes, of course, that's the heart of any win-win negotiation. Understanding my interest, concerns, needs, understanding your interest, concerns, needs, and from there on, we can create options which are valuable. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to share interests, especially again, if I don't have trust. And how do I do it then? We do it again reciprocal. I share an interest, you share an interest. And which interest do we share first? Probably the one which is well known, everybody knows about, or the one which is common, where we have a common interest. I would like to conclude with the fourth one, the other ones I've talked about, and I'm extremely happy that it's 0%, because of course it's a win-lose approach to focusing only on your winning on the other party's expense. Thank you so much. That was my explanation for it.
Thank you. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to His Highness Sheikh Nahyan bin Zayed Al Nahyan, our distinguished speakers, His Excellency Zaki Nusayba, for sharing his inspiring reflections and stories, and Dr. Anya for her enlightening insights. Thank you, Your Highnesses, esteemed guests, for your valuable time and participation. في نهاية الجلسة نتوجه بالشكر والامتنان للقيادة الرشيدة والحكومة وقواتنا المسلحة تقديراً لدورهم في حماية الوطن وحرصهم الدائم على سلامة جميع الأفراد من مواطنين ومقيمين على أرض الدولة. في الختام يشرفنا أن ندعو الشيخ نهيان بن زايد آل نهيان إلى المنصة لالتقاط الصورة جماعية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.